Hello everyone, I'm Nick from nextstepnick.com, and today I thought what we'd do is have a look at Fallout 76 almost 1 year after its release and see whether or not it's worth picking up yet. So, we've all heard the controversy, we all saw the debacle when it first came out. Has it improved? I didn't play it, to be quite honest, when it first came out, so I approached this like a total new player, wanted to see what it played like. So, let's get to grips with it. How does it look? It is pretty good. There are frame rate drops. I'm playing it on the PS4 here. There are still frame rate drops and issues like that, but for the most part it's quite attractive as a game. It's really got those stunning vistas at certain points. It does look like a lot of fun, and it does look really good at times. I mean, when you look at the map, there's loads of places you can go, there's loads of exciting things you could explore, or so it seems at first glance. I mean, this was quite exciting for me, seeing how many things I could look at. And when it comes to the actual wasteland itself, a lot of things have been changed to be suitable for people, of course, for like social situations. Some of that's cool, some of it's quite interesting. There are bad moments, but at the same time, there are things that I think are awesome. Say no more. The environment itself is pretty attractive as well. There's a lot of that Fallout quirkiness that we've all kind of grown up to get used to and we all know and love. But the one thing I would say about it is it does look attractive at times. There are moments where you really are thinking, wow, this is a pretty game. The problem is, though, those moments are few and far between. There's a lot of really interesting areas, there's a lot of interesting places to explore, but really, when you start to fully get to grips with those areas, they often seem barren, and if there's combat, that's when the game really starts to let itself down. So for example here, we're looking at a vertibird, looks pretty cool. All of these ghouls have just glitched into the side. Those kind of problems are still happening. The combat as well, it really lets itself down. It feels stodgy, it feels forced. It doesn't feel like the satisfying shooting that you got in the original Fallout. I say original, I mean the Bethesda Fallout, so that's Fallout 3. That includes the Obsidian one, my favourite, which is New Vegas. It doesn't feel like that. It feels very... I don't know how to describe it really. Disjointed? There's a little bit of lag sometimes when you're attacking. You'll shoot, the shot will fire, and then they'll just fall down. The AI is pretty awful as well. They kind of run into walls a lot. You'll shoot them and they just sort of flop over. It's not great. The combat really lets itself down. There's a lot of chances where you think you've found something interesting or you find something that looks like it's going to be fun to fight. It's not. It's usually not. It's usually just a case of, you know, you can activate VATS, which is like real time, and the bullet will kind of lock on. Or, you know, just shoot things and they fall over. There's not a lot of effort. You can feel like a badass sometimes though. You can have some really cool moments sometimes. But unfortunately, this is also where you see the most glitches and the most bugs. You get enemies popping out through walls, you get them glitching through the floor still. The classic Bethesda bugs, the ones we're all sort of used to, but considering the kind of debacle this game had, it's not really acceptable 1 year on. You'd assume a lot of this had been fixed, but it just isn't. You've got characters glitching through the floor, you've got things getting stuck inside other objects. It's funny, but it's also embarrassing, and there are moments where it really... You might get into like certain parts of the game and it just breaks your immersion. The building is back. It's kind of interesting from Fallout 4, so it's a similar system. But again, it's a high and a low. You can build different things, make new camps and stuff like that, build all sorts of stuff with your friends, but the problem is that, for example in this clip here, I can't put down planks without making a downstairs first, but the way around that is I just stick blocks on the end, and they can hover in the air and look ridiculous, so it kind of eliminates the point of putting them all in there in the first place really. It just looks a bit stupid. I don't really know what to say about it other than that. It's okay. None of this really felt like it was motivating me to actually interact with it. I wasn't really interested in the building, I didn't know why I'd want to bother, I didn't know why I'd want to do those things, but there is like a levelling system. So you level up, you gain like cards, perk cards, a bit like what they showed when the game was first released, and they have different abilities and different things you can do, so they might increase your accuracy from a certain range, you might find it easier to drink things with radiation sickness, so it encourages you to kind of interact, and there are challenges that get you XP, and that includes like the building, so it tries to get you to do everything, but the problem is, it's so boring. This is what you need to get used to. Hundreds and hundreds of audio logs, you can see one playing there, just constant audio logs and tapes and notes. I mean, I know there's no NPCs yet, and that's something they're planning in the future, but you really notice it. When I heard about this, I thought what they meant was that, you know, you'd pick up a note that would start a quest, and you'd slowly get information as the quest went on. You know, you'd see that you'd find a note, for example, oh, that looks interesting, I'll go to this place and learn a bit more. But what actually happens most of the time is you turn up at a place, you feel like everything interesting has already happened. You're just glancing through someone's notes that have nothing to do with anything, or huge swathes of exposition. And it just feels like you've missed all the action. The interesting stuff inside a room is very rarely even referenced, which is a shame. I mean, check this out.
Reverend Delbert Winters here, born and raised in this very town. Lent my own church to the responders for their outpost here, and you're welcome. The responders are on a true mission, you see, helping folks through thick and thin, till the heavens open up again and take us all up anyways. When this all happened, I figured like most it was time. This was the end, but it wasn't, was it? We're still here.
Oh, before I forget, guys, the crafting system is back with items and weapons, which is kind of cool. I do like that side of things. Oh, I better not distract you too much, though. Let's see if Mr. Winters is probably just wrapping up now, so we better just join him for the last bit.
I asked how? Why? I fought your wars on Earth. I'm ready to fight them up there by your side. Then, in my despair, I saw some survivors eating raw rat carcass behind a dumpster. You ought to cook that first, I warned them.
Oh, before I forget, guys, I found these interesting guys as well. They look like they've got something interesting on them. Let's have a quick look. Oh, it's just another log. Well, let's go back to Mr. Winters. He's probably done by now.
Next time hell or high water land at my stoop, I'll be swept clear away with it. But until then, let's share a home-cooked meal together, all right?
My God, it goes on. And then bear in mind that in that same room is this terminal. I've sped this up for you. But there's this terminal in that room as well, just packed with exposition. Nothing else, nothing interesting, nothing that has anything to do with anything. Just random exposition just stuffed in. It doesn't even relate to the area. But I guess that must be the only log in the room, right? Oh my God, it just goes on. There's so many, and it just feels like a grind. The thing that I hate about this is it's not even text that advances the story or gives you anything interesting. It's just generic exposition. It's not woven into the narrative, it's just stuffed in there. This is another issue, is that the game feels so stodgy. It feels so like it's purposely trying to obstruct the player. Even now, I thought this would be fixed. Like I say, I didn't really play this when it first came out. I assumed these issues would be long gone. But even with the selling, you'll see me buying and selling here. If you look at the amount that the things cost, as opposed to what I can sell my items for, even the best items that I've got, even the best things I've got at my level, sell for like 3, maybe 10 caps. You can't even get rounds for some of those things. I mean, 44s are 8 caps each. It's unbelievable, and it's just a fake grind. I assumed, to be honest, it was basically there to push something in the store, and I know a lot of that is just cosmetic, but you get these alerts as well all the time, just popping up and saying, oh, you could buy something, by the way, you could get something better, by the way, just trying to encourage you to spend money in the microtransaction store. Now, you can't buy caps, I was wrong about that, but you look at the amount of effort that's gone into some of the items in this store, some of the interesting skins and packs and things you can buy, and it looks really impressive. So you can see where all the love has gone, because it's not gone into the base game, because there's barely anything interesting to even look at. I didn't find, well, very little that I was interested in. Outfit-wise, didn't really care. I'm quite into getting sort of my character dressed up and things like that. Didn't really care. And as people have pointed out before, they said they would never sell things that would give you an advantage in the game, but they do with these scrap packs. So it's getting to that stage where I wouldn't be surprised if that grind is there to encourage you to buy caps at a later date, and they just haven't done it yet. But don't worry, I tried out Nuclear Wasteland. Yeah, most of the time you're just waiting. It disconnects you quite a lot as well. You're just waiting. It can go on for about 10 minutes like this. You finally get into a match and then it's not worth it anyway. So to be honest, looking back on it, a year later, is 76 worth buying? Honestly, no. I don't think it's worth buying. I don't think it's worth it now. I don't think it was worth it before. And it's a shame that after so long, there's been so little advances. I know people will say things have changed for the better in regard to gameplay, but it just isn't acceptable. I mean, when you compare this at its released state now to something like New Vegas, when we know how long Obsidian had that game for, it's just not acceptable. But anyway, if you did like the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It really does help out. And if you do want to see more of my content, head over to www.nextstepnick.com to also subscribe to the website. It really helps out with making all the content. Anyway, thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you again very soon.